I'm a man of peace. I don't know why these things come up now and again in my life, these little run-ins with people. But I think I had my all-time run-in getting off of a long flight from Pittsburgh back to L.A. last night. Now, I said the red eye was no treat, but it was better because at least for future reference, for people who maybe have a baby on the way, the red eye is the best because the baby's going to sleep through the night. We traveled in the late afternoon, and it was a mess. The baby was restless. She was unhappy. She was crying. It was claustrophobic for all of us. And it started off with we had 2 middle seats. The airline changed. And by the way, the airlines are really a mess. I don't want to say what airline we were on, but boy, oh boy. I've long since given up on the idea that the stewardesses were going to be foxy. And stewardess, by the way, I know that it's whatever, politically incorrect or whatever, but if you as a profession change the name of your profession, that probably is a good indicator that it wasn't a very good profession to begin with. You know, if you used to be a secretary, but now you insist on being an administrative assistant, you're trying to jazz it up and confuse me, but I can still see through that. But anyway, so the flight attendants, all right, fine. So they're not all foxy like they used to be in the 60s movies that you see. But when did it become that they no longer have to be pleasant anymore? Now that if you ask them for anything, you're putting them out. So we said to one on the way in, can you help us maybe, my wife is, 7 months pregnant now. She's out to here. We have a little baby girl with us. I said, listen, can you help us try to sit next to each other? Because, it'd be miserable for me to try to hold the baby or my wife without the other one being there. So the flight attendants both said, well, you're better off doing it on your own. That was the answer they gave us. As if their advice on rearing your child and keeping it in line supersedes yours. It was crazy. I'm carrying bags and everything with the stuff for the baby with bottles and everything. And I have a stack of food, too, because I have all this food with us, too, that I got at the airport to give my wife and to feed my own face. And all the stuff, and one of the boxes of food fell on the ground right in front of the flight attendant, and the flight attendant said, "Whoops," like that, and looked down at the food. And I have all these bags and everything. I have to awkwardly work my way down to one knee to put it back on the top. I mean, it was insane. Anyway, so we get on the plane, and a guy is nice enough to allow us to sit next to each other. And really, that's for his benefit. You don't want to sit, you don't want to be flanking the baby being held by mama, right? Great choice of words, flanking. Yeah, it's no good. So anyway, so we sit there, we go through the flight. She's unhappy the whole way. We touch down in Los Angeles, and the pilot, where everybody is on their feet, hopefully waiting to get off of the plane, and the pilot comes on and says, "We're sorry, there hasn't been a people walker." What is it called? People, the thing that you get off of the plane to get into the airport, the thing that the stairs. No, not the stairs. Catwalk, the jetway. The jetway, that's what I'm looking for, yes. The thing that they pull up so that you can exit from the plane into the airport. So they say it hasn't arrived yet. So now people are really restless. A 5-hour flight, and there were babies aplenty on this flight. Penn State Nittany Lion fans and parents with babies. And understandably, because the Christmas holiday just ended. Of course you have to go and spend time with the family, with the baby, but my wife is pregnant. And so at this point, though, the holiday's over. Everybody's now ready at 10 o'clock at night to get off of the plane and go home. And people are now extra restless because that thing hasn't come out. So we're standing there, and the baby is crying. She's miserable. She's been asleep. She's disoriented, whatever. She's wailing. It's awful. But what can you do? We're red-faced, my wife and I, apologizing. We're really sorry about this. Everybody around us is saying, what can you do? It's a little baby, and everybody, a lot of other people have babies with them. And the baby's hand happens to sort of flip and flail and hit the woman in front of her on the shoulder. And the woman is about a 40-year-old woman. Uh-oh. With Barron? With this fire red haircut, this severe kind of short haircut, and angular features. She was mean looking, Jess. She was just simply a mean looking woman. and the baby's hand hits her on the shoulder, not hard or anything, and the woman wheels around and says, "Don't touch me." and my sweet wife, my sweet wife, I didn't exactly hear what had just happened. My wife says, "Are you kidding me? She's a little baby." And she says, "Just don't let her touch me." And I said, "Wow." And now the entire airplane, the airplane is not on, so it's you can now hear everything that is happening. Everybody wheels around, and I can't help it.
Did you give her the sass? Did you give her the sass? You got to give her the sass.
She was the one with the sass. A little baby's hand grazes your shoulder.
Sass her back. If
you
not,
go crazy.
her.
I said, well, listen. I said, "Happy holidays to you." I said, "I'm sure it was a joyous holiday." I really got into her.
Nice.
She was given the stink eye, and then she turned back around and gave me the back of her head. I wasn't done with the conversation yet, though. I said, "What an awful human being you are to
You
say
said
that."
awful human being?
I said well, listen, she was being awful. She shouts at my wife and disparages the little 18-month-old baby. I said I reprimanded the baby. I started to say, "How dare you? I insist you apologize to this woman for touching her precious shoulder. You got to grow up a little bit. How dare you? Listen, by the way," and I started to make an announcement to the plane, "Everyone, please, shame the devil if you touch this woman. She won't stand for it." And so I really was starting to go. I said, what should we have done? Well, I wonder what you would have had us done. Should we have put her in a cage and put her underneath the plane with all the other pets? And by the way, these are actual lines I said to the woman. I said, and by the way, say hello to the 101 Dalmatians for me.
Oh, called her Cruella right there.
People were delighted by it. And then the women around us start jumping into the conversation and saying, "By the way, that baby was well behaved. There's nothing you can do," and getting after this woman. And the woman next to us said, "I happen to think she was a delight. She's a sweet girl and everything." And I said, "Listen, I'm sorry about to the people around us." I said, "No, it's not you. It's this woman."
Oh, that's a good feeling to be vindicated.
Right. That's it. I wouldn't have done it had I not been validated by the people around us. And she turned around and she said, "You know what? I gotta, maybe not everyone is as amused by you and your baby. Get over it." And I said, as though I care what your opinion is of the baby. But and I said to my daughter, I said, "Listen, do yourself a favor. Do not look this woman squarely in the eyes or you'll turn to stone." I zinged her good. I zinged her good a few times. And then I suggested, So then she continued to periodically turn around and say, "That's exactly what I'm talking about." She didn't, as though she was an authority figure of some sort, like that's what I'm talking about. She wouldn't stand for my sass or wouldn't abide by it. And so she was livid with that. And I said, "What would you have had me do? This is an 18-month-old child. What should I have done with her? I don't know how I can make it up for you. Would you like me to pay for your next awful dye job?" And
you said that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And then the one I didn't get off, that I'm sorry I didn't because I thought the job had been finished already, but I thought about taking out my cell phone and saying, "Excuse me, can I take your picture? I'd like to record an image of the worst human being I've ever met in my life." But I didn't do that one. But then, so my more demure wife is standing there, and the woman is evil and snarky and everything else. And clearly, the airplane is on my side now. They are laughing and enjoying our one-sided affair at this point. Our one-sided verbal battle.
Did she smell of black jelly beans?
What does that mean?
Well, they're the worst jelly bean. I was just thinking what she would smell like. What things are awful?
That's funny.
She must have smelled like something awful in addition to looking and acting awful.
So this woman is just pure evil. That's all there is to it. And so now the whole thing finally settles down, and the people everyone has settled down a little bit. And my wife says, "We're looking for a babysitter." The best line of the whole thing. The whole thing is if my wife gets off. My remarks perhaps a little more caustic, but
she quietly waited in the wings to deliver her own brand of sass.
Listen, I count myself still among the righteous. Why would this woman? It's the holiday season. Where of course we shouldn't have shared the Christmas holiday with the family because this woman had her shoulder grazed by the mitt of an 18-month-old child.
Everyone agrees with you. Just be sure of that. Not only on that plane, but in your audience. Everyone agrees with you. All right, Dave? And
let's make that a poll question. Who was right? Me or Cruella?
I'm not going to put that.
You'll put it up,
100 to 0. It's 100 to... Nobody's going to say Cruella de Vil was
all right, but no.
Situation.
Now you've heard my reaction. Was Dave's reaction appropriate?
Well, if it was as lengthy as you described it on the podcast, it seems like it was.
It went on for about a solid 5 minutes.
It might have crossed the line. You might have just left it at a couple jabs and then left it at that. But you threw a couple left.
Which was your favorite?
An uppercut.
I think
Medusa line was great.
Medusa was strong. I thought the Dalmatians line was good.
Anytime you invoke an outside character and attribute it to the person that you're verbally accosting, because that requires wit, a knowledge of pop culture and past events, characters, things. You really did a great job there, if the sass can say so.
I hope by the end of it that she walked away thinking to herself, that was a real mistake to open my mouth.
But you know what? I bet she didn't, because people that would say that to begin with, they don't get it. You could not explain it to somebody any other way. They just don't get it. That's why they would say something like that.
You know me, Skyler. I have the righteous cause each week of the jerk list, trying to take down the jerks and creeps of society with the Han Solo Edition blaster. And I don't take that job lightly, and I don't take time off because I'm on Christmas vacation. And that woman needed to be dealt with directly. Am I right?
You're right. I can't wait to go on a plane with my young child. I want to go on a plane and provoke somebody to some sort of
Well, now you have the lines ready to go.
I've got them in my back pocket. I'm ready to pull them out.